I'm Sheree Webb, an instructional designer in the Distance Education Department at Tyler Junior College in Tyler, Texas. One of the things I work on with our faculty is page layout, the arrangement and treatment of text, pictures, and other elements on the page. An effective page layout not only makes the pages look attractive and appealing, but also helps students comprehend the content and scan the page to find what they're looking for. How can you design effective online pages? Let's look at 4 guidelines that will help answer that question, and we'll apply the guidelines to a before and after example. Before example, you can see that it's just a page of text. It has no visual cues to give you hints about the organization or to draw the reader in. So let's talk about the 4 guidelines then. The first guideline is to use legible text. That guideline has to do with choosing a typeface that works well for online reading and selecting a type size that's easy to read online. In this example, it's using Times New Roman 11 point. And Times New Roman is not a good font for online reading. It's just not designed for that. So if we look at the after example, you can see that the font has been changed to a Verdana 12 point. Verdana is one of the fonts that's designed for online reading. A couple of others are Georgia and Trebuchet. And a good type size for online pages is 11 to 13 point for body text, and the headings should be larger than that. Guideline 2 is to use meaningful headings to break up the text. Use headings and subheadings that describe the content, not just generic headings like introduction, purpose, and conclusion. So if we look at our example, look at the after example, some headings have been added to the page to help identify the content, help the reader work their way through the content. The first thing that's added is a title that tells what the content of the page is, instructions for online discussions. And then as we move down the page, there's some subheadings that have been added for each of the sections. Where can you find the discussion topics? How are they graded? These are in a question form, which is one effective way of writing descriptive headings. The next guideline that we're going to look at is use bulleted and numbered lists. Lists add visible structure to your pages. Use numbered lists for sequential steps and for prioritized items. Use bulleted lists for information that's not sequential or prioritized. So if we look back at the before example, one place where a list would really help is in this last paragraph, which is giving some steps for how to use the discussion board. It's really hard in this block of text to figure out what the steps are, but if we look at the after example, these are broken out into numbered steps. You can see that there's actually 2 procedures, one for posting a message and another for replying to messages. And this is much easier to read than the block of text that we saw in the before example. The 4th guideline is to use graphics and tables to convey content. Look for places where you can replace and reinforce text with graphics and tables. For example, use charts and graphs to show quantitative information. Use diagrams for processes, procedures, and hierarchies. Tables to organize information into rows and tables. And use photos to depict people, places, and things. All of these items add visual interest to a page and convey information. So if we look back at our before example, this paragraph on grading has a lot of numbers in it, which is a hint that we should probably be displaying this information graphically. It's difficult to comprehend in this paragraph format. So let's look at the after example for one way that you could present this information. So we have things broken out in a table here where we have the criteria listed and then the number of points that students can earn for each discussion topic for meeting that criteria. So that's much easier to read and comprehend than the solid paragraph of text. Now that we've applied the 4 guidelines to this page, it's much more visually appealing and also easier to read. So remember that effective page layout in your online courses can help your students grasp the content more quickly and easily and find the answers to their questions. In short, it helps you communicate more effectively with your students.